Good morning. This is your Vice President for Business Development, Jurgen Gonzales, and I'd like to greet each and every one of you, our dear empowered consumers, leaders, associates, coaches, mentors all over the Philippines. A great day to each and every one of you, and of course, all our leaders and distributors all over the world. This is actually a unique time to each of us because no one anticipated that this outbreak or pandemic will ever happen, and no one was prepared actually for this, and it's making an impact to each and every one of us socially, economically, again because most of us are under quarantine or under the lockdown as a directive or as directed by the government as part of preventing the spread of this deadly virus. So we have to do our part and become socially responsible because everyone is at stake here, including our loved ones. But at the same time, we would also like to have a business continuity while being socially responsible, while also doing our part in terms of stopping the spread of this virus. So in as far as the company is concerned, we are actually putting a lot of support system in place. Number one, training will be continuous, and we are coming up with a lot of new facilities in terms of purchasing products through the online platform. Now, it's also important that as leaders, as associates, you also have to do your part in terms of empowering your community, your network. And so today, I would like to discuss one of the most important things I think that any leader, any associate, any distributors must possess, must develop, must enhance is the attitude of being resilient or resiliency. So at these critical times, being resilient is very important. So what it means to be resilient, or what is resiliency? Well, one of the best definitions I actually got is resiliency, or being resilient, means advancing despite adversity, meaning advancing despite the problems, the obstacles, the challenges. So that means that you have to keep going, you have to move forward despite the problems, challenges, obstacles, or adversities that you encounter. And again, as leaders, we are faced with a lot of challenges every day. Adversities can be small or big challenges that we face every day in terms of running our network, our community. And again, the important thing is we have to have the attitude of being persistent in terms of getting our dreams, getting our goals. Advancing means being goal-oriented and moving, advancing to our goals, working hard for our goals. Advancing despite means being proactive and not waiting for adversities to happen before we take action. And of course, adversity, these are the small challenges, the big challenges we face, like what we are now encountering. And no one actually prepared us for this. No one wanted this kind of situation where we are just confined in our place, in our home, and we cannot go out. And the important thing is we have to know what to do in terms of situations like this, because if we will be paralyzed because of our fears, because of anxiety, because of our worry, then it creates more problem for us. Because if you cannot move anymore because of your fear, because of your doubt, then you become unproductive. Aside from that, of course, fear, anxiety, and being anxious lower down our immune system. So instead of just sitting down and just waiting for things to happen, instead of just watching the news, you can do actually a lot of things in terms of being active, not physically, but because of the technology, we can still be active and participate in terms of running our own community, our own network, our own team by being active virtually through online platforms. Actually, this thing that I'm doing right now is actually unique to me, and this is new to me as well, but we have to do our part in terms of supporting our distributors and making sure that there is continuous training for each and every one of you. In fact, in the next coming weeks, you will be hearing a lot from us, from the training team, and of course from the board of directors. So again, let me go back to my topic of being resilient, because nowadays it's very, very important that you never stop, you never get paralyzed, you never get so worried that you never move anymore, you never run your business anymore, you never get in touch with your leaders anymore. And I'd like to talk some things about actually what you can do to still be active despite this situation. So, being resilient, my friends, there are certain steps we must do and we must adopt so that we can develop resiliency. Number one, being resilient means accepting change. So we have to accept the fact that, like here in the Philippines, we are being quarantined for the next 30 days. We have to accept the fact that we will be confined in our home for the next 30 days. And with this change, the important thing is you adapt to it. Meaning, you can actually make some things or do some things that will still make you active. Probably, number one, you can do online trainings for your group, for your community, for your associates. And number two, these changes, previously, if you've been so active in terms of field marketing or what we call offline networking, this time, you have to practice developing your skills in terms of online marketing or using the online platforms, particularly the mediums such as the social media. So again, we have to accept the fact that change is happening and we have to adapt to these changes. Probably previously, before, you have never been so techy, or you have never been so you're not a person who always uses your cell phone, any gadgets or anything in terms of this technology or online platforms. Now, you have to adapt to it, that you have to accept the fact that since we cannot get in touch with our group physically, we have to still get in touch with them. We have to communicate with them in terms of online, or not physically but virtually this time. So you have to accept change to become resilient. Number two, become a continuous learner, which means as leaders, we all know this, we all tell you this in our trainings, and I'm sure even your uplines, even your mentors, your coaches are telling you to continuously learn, because again, knowledge is power if you couple it with action. So this is the best time for us to learn. Read books. There's a lot of things you can watch in YouTube instead of just watching the news, instead of adding up to the worry of the world in terms of this pandemic. Do your part by reading books or engaging in, let's say, online training with your associates, with your community, and you can actually learn a lot of things, not only from your coaches, not only from your mentors, but you can actually learn also from your business associates, your community associates. So this is the best time for us to learn, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of motivational trainings, a lot of information you can actually watch in YouTube, for example, and there's a lot of online topics you can actually search that can help you develop your skills and at the same time add more information for you. So third, to become more resilient, you have to take charge. When I say you have to take charge, you have to take charge of your emotions, you have to take charge of your mental faculties, you have to take charge of your physical your physicality, you have to take charge of your social skills. Take charge, ladies and gentlemen, because we cannot be affected so much by what is happening. We have to take charge and take action. For example, again, as I've said earlier, this is the best time for you to use the online platform to get in touch with your people as often as possible, so that there is a business continuity in terms of your group, in terms of your network. We cannot just be idle here. So let's take charge of our emotions, particularly, and not be afraid, not be anxious, and not be so worried that it paralyzes us. So we have to take charge, especially number one, the mental plane. So we should do our best to increase the level of our awareness. And do you think, as a way of reflection, And in terms of increasing our awareness, what do you think is happening, or what does this outbreak situation, what kind of impact does it do to us? So what can you learn from this? So previously, those things that we take for granted, like our time with our friends, our time to socialize, going out, probably those things that the small things that we actually take for granted, I now realize that these are actually the important things. We take them for granted because it's already part of our routine, going out, going to work, getting the sunlight, going to the playground, spending time with friends outside. But we never appreciate them so much anymore. But now, how I wish I could go out and spend time with my friends, go to work, just be appreciative of everything being out. So this situation, actually, we can learn a lot of things, and it can actually add to our awareness. So probably when these things are over, or when this thing is over, we can become more appreciative of the little things in life that we take for granted, that now we feel so important because we are just confined here in our home. Second, of course, part of our mental awareness is the ability to adapt. Again, we cannot just be paralyzed because of our fear and everything, so you need to adapt. And that's going to be my topic in the next coming days, the skills or adaptability skills. Number 3, decision making. This is part of the importance of being resilient in terms of the mental plane is fast decision making. Again, there's a lot of things that can worry us, that can paralyze us, that make us anxious, but you decide, ladies and gentlemen, what to do with your network, that while this thing is happening, how can your group be able to still do the business while there is a pandemic and we are being quarantined in our own house or own place? And of course, part of this mental being resilient mentally is being positive all the time, because again, negative thinking will never help us nowadays. At this point in time, we just have to be positive that soon this will be over. Again, the company is doing everything to make sure that there's business continuity, and previously, before this happened, we had a crisis planning session together with our department head. So don't worry, because when this thing is over, again, we will be stronger, and we will be more learned, because probably these things will the thing that is happening will help us become a better person, become a more compassionate person, be a kinder person, because everyone, ladies and gentlemen, is part of this, and we are all affected by this. So probably when we resume our business activity, we will be more connected to our associate, we will be more compassionate to them, because of what we have learned and experienced being confined at our own place. The second plane, or the second part, is of course being resilient, is the physical part. So this is the best time to actually rest, and at the same time recover, increase our strength, make sure you get enough proper nutrition, make sure you get enough sleep. So there's a purpose why this thing is happening. So probably some of you who have been complaining about being so busy running your network for the last few months, and you would want to sleep and just rest. Now, because of this thing, everyone will have a chance, will have a time to rest, sleep, and spend time with their families and all because of this. So being resilient, ladies and gentlemen, part of it is being physically fit at the same time. Number 3 plane, aside from the mental plane, the physical plane, is the social plane. So social means being connected with our family, spending time with our loved ones, and of course, socially means our connectedness with our fellow human being. So again, it is important to become human again at this point in time, because for so many probably months we've been busy getting our goals. We take for granted what is actually important in our lives. So this is the best time to get connected again, and we've been wanting this. So for the next 30 days, probably we can come up with a lot of things to stay together and spend quality time with our loved ones. And of course, number 4 is the spiritual plane. So this means our core values. Spiritual is our inner self. So this is the best time to connect. This is the best time to again probably contemplate that there is a higher being, infinite being, of course higher than us, and this is the best time to reflect and connect again to our spirituality. So again, find your purpose. So there are 4 planes that we have to take care of: our mental, physical, social, and spiritual plane. Now, going back to some steps to help you become more resilient is, aside from taking charge, number 4 is finding your purpose. So again, so that you will never be stopped by this problem, by this issue, by this challenge or adversity of a pandemic, that we cannot go out, that we cannot actually engage with our group physically. Find your purpose, find your why. Go back to the very reason why you are doing this in the first place. So to those of you who are losing the motivation, probably because you think that, because of this, I'm just starting in the business and I'm starting to gain momentum and this happened. So you're losing hope because suddenly this happened. And believe me, no one wanted this in the first place. No one prepared us for this. But if you go back to the very reason why you are doing this business, why you did the business, or what is your why, what is your reason why you do this, then that should fuel you to still go on, move on, and advance despite the adversity. Number 5, of course, it's very important to cultivate relationship at this point in time. So get in touch with, of course, with your associates, with your people, with your mentor, virtually, using a lot of online platforms that is available to you. This is the best time to cultivate relationship with your loved ones, with your family, with your children, with your parents. And this is important because this, our loved ones inspire us. Our loved ones push us. They motivate us. They inspire us to actually move on or advance in terms of our goals and our dreams. So one way to become resilient is to cultivate relationship with your loved ones. And next is, this is the best time, ladies and gentlemen, to reflect. Reflection, meaning let's have a new perspective about this. Let's get new perspective about what is actually happening. Again, as I've said earlier, for so many years we've taken for granted what we thought were just small things, like going out, going to the park, going to the mall, having some drinks, or probably socializing with friends or co-workers, your colleagues. But since it's an everyday routine, we take them for granted. Now that we are confined and there's a quarantine, how we wish, ladies and gentlemen, that we gain back that kind of freedom. How we wish that we could just easily go out and do our thing or things, do our tasks, go to the grocery easily, connect with friends easily, go to the park, eat somewhere, eat in the restaurant, go to the mall. These are the things that we cannot actually do now because of this quarantine. So probably this gives us a new perspective that once everything gets back to normal, once everything is settled, and once everything is already fine and okay, we become more appreciative of what we have, or become more appreciative of our lives, become more appreciative of the things we have that we normally take for granted, become more appreciative of our co-workers, colleagues, our loved ones, or more importantly, become more appreciative of our freedom, of our opportunity. You see, a lot of people are affected by this outbreak, by this pandemic. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people, a lot of countries are worried about the upcoming recession. And because at least we have this kind of opportunity where we are not so much affected because we can be home-based. We can offer this opportunity to a lot of people because we are flexible, because we have a very good compensation plan. Then we have to think that, you know, we are still so blessed compared to a lot of people. Although this situation is actually a great equalizer because everyone is affected by this. But we who are in this industry are still so blessed compared to a lot of people out there. So in this step, I mean, reflection, probably it's time for us that, you know, we become more appreciative of what we have. So when things get back to normal, that should give you a sense of urgency to really work harder when we all get back to our normal life, when we all get back that kind of freedom that we used to have. And now I don't call this freedom because we are like prisoners in our own home and we cannot simply go out anymore. So that should give us a new perspective. And last, of course, the skill shift. Skill shift means you have to adapt to what is happening right now. Probably if your skills previously is just online, or I'm sorry, if your previous skills were just in field marketing or what we call offline marketing, and you've never been using, or you've never used a lot of other platforms, particularly online platform, in terms of running or growing your business, your network, probably this time you have to learn a new skill, the online skills. So there are a lot of mentors out there, your coaches, your uplines, you can actually ask advice from. So there's a lot of information. The only important thing is you are open to shift your skills to other fields, like online marketing. At this point in time, we can be connected to our group, to our community, virtually, but we have to have the online skills, or we have to be familiar with online platform. So again, one day you will be paid more. Your income will be based upon the skills that you have. And the best leaders are those who can adopt, those who can acquire skills depending upon the situation. So the situation now calls for you to have these online skills. Get in touch with your group, your community through online. It should be no reason, ladies and gentlemen, that this thing happened, the government came up with this directive, and you will have a reason that, you know, because the government did this and that, because it's harder to do the network now since I'm home. Well, those are excuses. In life, you can make excuses or you can make any reasons, but at the end of the day, it's all about your results. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to shift your skills, adapt to what is happening right now. The situation is very different. So let me just summarize how you can become resilient, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, make sure to adapt to change or accept change. Number two, become a continuous learner. And number three, take charge of our emotions, take charge of our mental plane, physical plane, spiritual plane, and the social plane. Number four, we have to find our purpose. We have to go back to the reason why we are doing this in the first place. Number five, make sure to cultivate relationship. This is the best time to cultivate our relationship with our loved ones, with our associates, with our uplines, with our mentors. And number six, this is also the best time for us to reflect, to gain new perspective. And last, of course, we have to adapt to new skills. We have to have a what we call skill shift, adapt to change. And since, you know, the landscape, what is happening is different now, so we have to also adjust our skills to a particular situation like now. So again, those things are my topic. That's about resilience. In the next coming days, you will hear more about us, and stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This is your weekly, or probably this will be your daily dose of motivation from us. Make sure to also protect yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I protect. Use the products, use the Ultra H2, and again, I'll see you in the next coming days. God bless everyone, and we're gonna be here to support you and train you while these things happening. things will get back to normal very, very soon. Good luck and more power to you.